The silk sheets felt cold against Serena's skin as she lay awake at 3 a.m, staring at the ceiling of the master bedroom. Nathan's side of the bed was empty again. This was the 4th night this week he'd claimed to be working late, and the 3rd time he hadn't come home at all. She reached for her phone, the blue light illuminating her dark brown skin in the darkness. No messages. No missed calls. Nothing. Serena Mitchell had never considered herself a suspicious wife. In their 5 years of marriage, she trusted Nathan completely. He was a self-made billionaire, the founder of Mitchell Technologies, a man whose face appeared on magazine covers and business podcasts. She'd been proud to stand beside him, the supportive wife who'd given up her own career aspirations to help build his empire. But something had shifted 3 months ago. It started small. A new cologne she didn't recognize. Whispered phone calls he'd taken in another room. Receipts for restaurants they'd never been to together. She'd brushed it off at first, telling herself she was being paranoid. Nathan worked hard. He had business dinners. Of course he'd be tired and distracted. Then she found the hotel receipt. It had fallen out of his jacket pocket while she was taking his suits to the dry cleaner. The Grandview Hotel. Presidential suite. 2 nights. The same weekend he'd told her he was in Chicago for a conference. Serena had checked. There was no conference in Chicago that weekend. She'd sat in their massive walk-in closet, the receipt trembling in her hands, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under her. Everything she'd believed about her marriage, about Nathan, about her life, suddenly felt like a lie. But she didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, she started paying attention. Really paying attention. She noticed how he angled his phone away from her when texting. How he'd started going to the gym more often, coming home showered and refreshed. How he'd stopped asking about her day or showing interest in the charity work she did. And she noticed the name that kept appearing on his phone screen before he'd quickly silence it. Candace. Serena had done her research. Candace Morrison worked at Mitchell Technologies as the director of marketing. She was 28, blonde, and according to her social media profiles, single. Her Instagram was filled with photos of luxury vacations, expensive dinners, and designer clothes that her salary alone couldn't possibly afford. Now, lying in bed alone again, Serena made a decision. She would test him. The next morning, Serena waited until Nathan came home around 7. He looked tired, his tie loosened, his usually perfect hair slightly disheveled. He kissed her cheek absently and headed straight for the shower. Over breakfast, Serena set her plan in motion. "I've been thinking," she said, pouring him coffee. "I need a break. Just some time to clear my head." Nathan looked up from his phone, barely focused. "A break? Nothing serious. Just a week away. Maybe that wellness retreat in Arizona my friend told me about. The one with the meditation classes and digital detox." "Sure, whatever you need," Nathan said, already looking back at his screen. Serena felt her heart crack a little more. He didn't even care enough to ask why she needed to get away. "I'll leave Friday," she continued. "I'll be gone for a week. No phone calls, no interruptions. Just me focusing on myself for once." "That's fine. I'll be pretty busy with work anyway." He stood, grabbing his briefcase. "I've got meetings all day. Don't wait up tonight." After he left, Serena sat in their pristine kitchen, surrounded by marble countertops and top-of-the-line appliances, and felt completely alone. She spent the next few days making a show of preparing for her trip. She booked the retreat, posted about it on social media, and packed a suitcase. She told their housekeeper, Margaret, that she'd be gone for a week and that Nathan would probably be working late most nights. Friday morning arrived. Nathan was already gone when she woke up. He'd left a note on the kitchen counter. "Have a good trip. See you next week." Not "I'll miss you." Not "call me when you get there." Just a casual dismissal. Serena loaded her suitcase into her silver Mercedes and drove away from their estate in the hills. But instead of heading to the airport, she drove to her best friend Tasha's apartment across town. Tasha had been skeptical when Serena first shared her suspicions, but after seeing the evidence, she'd become Serena's partner in this investigation. "You sure you want to do this?" Tasha asked as Serena carried her bags inside. "Once you know for certain, you can't unknow it." "I have to know," Serena said firmly. "I can't keep living in this uncertainty. If he's faithful, I'll feel terrible for doubting him. But if he's not, then you'll know exactly who you're married to," Tasha finished. Serena spent Friday afternoon at Tasha's place, watching mindless television and trying not to think about what might be happening at home. She'd posted a photo at the airport earlier, complete with a caption about new beginnings and self-care. Anyone looking at her social media would believe she was on a plane to Arizona. As evening approached, Serena felt her nerves building. She changed into dark jeans and a navy blue hoodie, pulling her long braids into a ponytail. She looked nothing like the polished socialite who usually graced charity events on Nathan's arm. "You ready?" Tasha asked. Serena nodded, though her hands were shaking. "Let's go." They drove back toward Serena's neighborhood in Tasha's car, parking on a quiet street with a clear view of the house. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It would have been beautiful if Serena's stomach wasn't twisted in knots. At 7:30, Nathan's black Range Rover pulled into the driveway. Serena watched through binoculars as he got out, carrying what looked like grocery bags. He was dressed casually in jeans and a fitted blue shirt she'd bought him for his birthday. "Maybe he's just having a quiet night at home," Tasha suggested hopefully. But Serena's intuition was screaming, "Wait." At 8:15, a red sports car pulled up to the house. Serena's breath caught as she watched a blonde woman in a green dress step out. Even from a distance, she recognized Candace from her social media photos. The woman didn't knock. She walked right in like she'd been there before. Like she belonged there. "Oh, Serena," Tasha whispered, reaching for her friend's hand. Serena couldn't speak. She watched through the large front windows as Nathan appeared, greeting Candace with a kiss that was anything but professional. He took her coat, poured her wine, touched her waist in a way that spoke of familiarity and intimacy. They moved to the dining room, the one Serena had decorated herself, where Nathan had never once offered to cook for her. But here he was, serving this woman dinner, laughing at something she said, looking more relaxed and happy than Serena had seen him in months. "I've seen enough," Serena said, her voice hollow. She pulled out her phone and started taking photos, documenting everything. The cars, the time stamps, the intimate scene playing out in her home. "What are you going to do?" Tasha asked. Serena lowered her phone, her hands steady now despite the storm raging inside her. "I'm going to make sure he regrets ever taking me for granted." As they drove away, Serena looked back at the house one last time. The home she'd made beautiful for a man who'd brought another woman into it the moment she left. The life she'd built that had turned out to be nothing but an illusion. She'd gone into this hoping to be wrong, praying her suspicions were just paranoia. But now she knew the truth. Nathan had been cheating and he'd been careless enough to do it in their home, thinking she was too trusting or too naive to ever find out. He was about to learn just how wrong he was. Back at Tasha's apartment, Serena couldn't sleep. She lay on the guest bed, scrolling through the photos she'd taken, each one another piece of evidence. Another nail in the coffin of her marriage. She thought about all the signs she'd ignored. The distance that had grown between them. The way he'd stopped seeing her as a partner and started treating her as an accessory. How she convinced herself that his distraction was just stress from work, that things would get better once he closed his next big deal. But it was never about work. It was about Candace. Around 2 in the morning, Serena heard her phone buzz. It was a text from Nathan. "Hope you made it safely. Sleep well." The casual cruelty of it made her want to scream. He was lying next to another woman in their bed, and he had the nerve to send her a perfunctory text message. Serena didn't reply. Instead, she opened her laptop and started making lists. Phone numbers for divorce attorneys. Names of friends she could trust. Bank accounts she needed to secure. Steps she needed to take. She'd spent 5 years being the perfect wife, putting Nathan's needs above her own, sacrificing her dreams to support his. She'd been loyal, faithful, and devoted. And this was how he'd repaid her. But Serena wasn't the same woman who'd married Nathan Mitchell. 5 years ago, she'd been fresh out of business school, impressed by his success and charisma. She'd let herself be swept up in his world, convinced that being Mrs. Mitchell was enough. Now she was 32 years old, and she'd just watched her husband betray her in the home they shared. She had no job, no independent income, and legally half of everything he owned. The old Serena might have confronted him tearfully, might have demanded answers, might have even considered giving him another chance. But that Serena was gone. In her place was a woman who just had her eyes open to exactly how little her husband valued her. A woman who was done being taken for granted. A woman who was ready to fight for herself for the first time in years. Tasha found her in the morning, still at the laptop, surrounded by notes and research. "Did you sleep at all?" Tasha asked, setting down coffee. "A little," Serena lied. She looked up at her friend. "I need your help. I need to build a case so strong that when I walk away from this marriage, I walk away with everything I deserve." "What do you need me to do?" Serena smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "First, I need you to help me figure out how long this has been going on. Then I need to document everything. Every dinner, every hotel, every lie. You're going to destroy him, Tasha observed. No, Serena corrected. I'm going to make sure he can't destroy me. There's a difference. Over the next few days, Serena stayed at Tasha's apartment, maintaining the illusion that she was in Arizona. She posted carefully curated photos, sent occasional texts to Nathan, and played the part of the dutiful wife enjoying her retreat. But behind the scenes she was working. She'd hired a private investigator to track Nathan's movements. She'd started reviewing their financial records, discovering credit card charges she'd never noticed before. Jewelry she'd never received. Hotel rooms she'd never stayed in. Trips she'd never taken. The evidence painted a clear picture. This affair had been going on for at least 6 months, possibly longer. Nathan had been spending their money to wine and dine Candace, buying her gifts, taking her places, all while Serena sat at home planning charity galas and pretending everything was fine. What hurt most wasn't just the betrayal. It was the realization of how little he must have thought of her to be so careless. He'd assumed she'd never check the accounts, never question his late nights, never doubt his word. He'd underestimated her completely. And that would be his biggest mistake. Saturday evening, Serena returned to her surveillance spot with Tasha. The private investigator she'd hired, a woman named Rita, had confirmed what Serena already suspected. Candace had been to the house 4 times in the past week alone. On the nights Nathan claimed to be working late, he'd actually been with her. They're getting comfortable, Rita had told her over the phone. That's when people get sloppy. They stop being careful. Serena wanted to see it for herself one more time. She needed to be absolutely certain before she made her next move. They arrived at 7, parking in the same spot as before. The sun was just beginning to set, casting long shadows across the neighborhood. Serena felt strangely calm, the initial shock and pain settling into something colder and more focused. At 7:30, right on schedule, Candace's red car pulled into the driveway. This time, Serena noticed more details. The way Candace had a key and let herself in. The way she was dressed in a red dress that hugged her figure, her hair styled perfectly. This wasn't a casual visit. She'd prepared for this evening. Through the windows, Serena watched Nathan greet her. He was wearing the charcoal gray sweater she'd given him last Christmas, paired with dark jeans. He looked happy, animated in a way he hadn't been with Serena in months. They moved to the living room, the space Serena had carefully decorated with neutral tones and carefully chosen art pieces. Nathan poured champagne into crystal flutes, the expensive ones they'd received as a wedding gift. They toasted to something Serena couldn't hear, then Candace laughed at something Nathan said, touching his arm in a familiar way. "I can't watch this," Tasha muttered, but Serena couldn't look away. She watched as they sat close together on the couch, Nathan's arm around Candace's shoulders. She watched as they kissed, long and slow, with none of the hesitation of new lovers. These were 2 people who knew each other well, who'd done this many times before. When Nathan stood and took Candace's hand, leading her toward the stairs, Serena finally turned away. "That's enough," she said quietly, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to fall. "I've seen everything I need to see." She pulled out her phone and took more photos, making sure to capture the timestamp and location. Then she opened her email and sent everything to Rita, to her lawyer contact Patricia, and to herself. "What now?" Tasha asked as they drove away. "Now I prepare," Serena said. "I go back to Arizona, finish my retreat, and come home next Friday as planned. And then I end this marriage on my terms." The drive back to Tasha's apartment felt surreal. Serena kept replaying what she'd seen, each image burned into her memory. Nathan, her husband, the man she trusted with her heart, building a life with another woman in the home they shared. But beneath the hurt, something else was growing. Anger. Determination. A fierce resolve to never let anyone make her feel this small again. Back at the apartment, Serena opened her laptop and continued her research. She'd been studying divorce law, reading articles about asset protection, learning about her rights. Knowledge was power, and she was arming herself with everything she'd need. Patricia, her lawyer friend from college, had already agreed to take her case. They'd had a long phone conversation where Serena had laid out everything she knew. Patricia had been sympathetic but practical. "California is a no-fault divorce state," Patricia had explained. "The affair won't matter legally in terms of the divorce itself. But it will matter in court if he tries to claim you don't deserve an equal split of assets. And it'll matter in the court of public opinion, which might be more important given his position." "I don't want revenge," Serena had said. "I just want what's fair." "Good. Fair we can do." But you need to be smart about this. Don't confront him until we have everything in place. Don't let him know you're planning to leave until we've secured your access to accounts and documented all assets. He thinks I'm at a meditation retreat, Serena had said with bitter irony. He has no idea. Now, sitting in Tasha's living room, Serena pulled up a document she'd been working on. It was a timeline of her marriage, noting when things had started to change. The distance, the late nights, the lies. Looking at it objectively, she could see the pattern. Nathan had started pulling away about 8 months ago, right around the time Candace had started at his company. The affair had probably begun shortly after that. 8 months. For 8 months, she'd been living a lie while Nathan built a relationship with someone else. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Nathan. How's the retreat? Getting lots of meditation in? Serena stared at the message, her jaw clenching. He was so casual about his deception, so comfortable with his lies. Did he feel any guilt at all? Or was she just so unimportant to him that he didn't even think about her when she wasn't in front of him? She typed back, "It's been very enlightening. Learning a lot about myself and what I really want." That, at least, was the truth. Sunday morning, Serena woke up with a new sense of purpose. She spent the day going through her personal belongings, making lists of what was solely hers and what they'd acquired together. She organized her important documents: birth certificate, social security card, passport, copies of financial records. She also started reaching out to friends she'd lost touch with during her marriage. Women she'd met through her charity work, old college roommates, former colleagues from the brief time she'd worked before marrying Nathan. She didn't tell them what was happening, but she started rebuilding connections she'd let fade. One friend, Deanna, invited her to lunch the following week. "I've missed you," Deanna said over the phone. "You kind of disappeared after you got married." "I know," Serena admitted. "I let myself get too wrapped up in being Nathan's wife. I forgot how to just be me." "Well, we should fix that. Come have lunch with me and some of the girls from the foundation. We'd love to catch up." After hanging up, Serena felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, hopeful. Not about her marriage that was over, but about the possibility of rebuilding a life that was truly hers. Monday evening, Rita sent over a detailed report. The private investigator had been thorough. She tracked Candace's movements, documented the affair timeline, and even managed to get photos of Nathan and Candace together at restaurants and hotels around the city. "This has been going on for 7 months, Rita wrote in her summary. Subject spends an average of 3 nights per week with the other party. Financial records show extensive gifts and trips. This is not a casual affair but an ongoing relationship." Serena read through the report twice, absorbing every detail. 7 months. Nearly as long as she'd suspected, but seeing it confirmed in black and white made it real in a new way. She forwarded everything to Patricia, who called her within an hour. "This is solid," Patricia said. "I know the affair itself won't impact the legal divorce, but this level of documentation will help if he tries to hide assets or claim you don't deserve an equal split. He's been spending community property on this relationship." "What's my next move?" Serena asked. "You stick to your plan. Come home Friday. Act normal for a few days while I prepare the papers. Then we hit him with everything at once. Divorce papers, asset freeze, the works. We don't give him time to move money or prepare a defense." "How long will it take?" "I can have everything ready by the end of next week." "But Serena, are you sure about this? Once we file, there's no going back." Serena thought about Nathan leading Candace up the stairs in their home. She thought about the champagne toasts and the intimate dinners and the 7 months of lies. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," she said. The rest of the week passed in a strange blur. Serena maintained her social media presence from Arizona, posting photos of sunsets and inspirational quotes about self-discovery. Texted Nathan occasionally, keeping up the pretense. His replies were always brief, distracted, clearly not missing her at all. She wondered if Candace was staying over every night now that Serena was supposedly gone. If they were playing house in the home Serena had made. If they talked about a future together, or if Nathan fed Candace the same lies he'd told Serena. On Thursday night, Serena packed her bag to leave Tasha's place. Her retreat was ending and she needed to return home the next day. "You're really going to go back there and act like everything's normal?" Tasha asked, helping her fold clothes. "Just for a few days," Serena confirmed. "Patricia needs time to finalize the papers. And I need to make sure I get everything that's mine before he realizes what's happening. I still think you should just leave and not go back." "I'm not running away," Serena said firmly. "That house is half mine. that life is half mine. I'm not the one who should be ashamed or hiding. Tasha hugged her friend tightly. You're so much stronger than you think you are. I'm learning that, Serena said softly. Friday morning, Serena posted one final photo from her retreat, with a caption about returning home refreshed and renewed. Then she drove back to the house in the hills, her heart pounding as she pulled into the driveway. The house looked the same from the outside. Perfect landscaping, pristine exterior, the picture of success and stability. But Serena knew the truth now. She knew what had been happening behind these walls while she'd been gone. She took a deep breath and walked inside, pulling her suitcase behind her. The house was empty. Nathan was at work. Everything looked normal, clean, as if nothing had happened. But Serena noticed small things. A wine glass in the sink that she didn't recognize. A different arrangement of the pillows on the couch. A faint smell of perfume that wasn't hers. She walked through each room, seeing it all with new eyes. This wasn't her home anymore. It was just a building filled with lies and broken promises. In the bedroom, she found the sheets had been changed, but she could still sense Candace's presence. Her husband had brought another woman into their bed, into their most intimate space, and he'd thought Serena would never know. Serena sat on the edge of the bed and let herself feel it all. The grief for what she'd lost. The anger at what had been done to her. The fear of what came next. Then she stood up, wiped her eyes and got to work. She had a few days to prepare before confronting Nathan. A few days to make sure everything was in place. A few days to build her exit strategy. Nathan came home around 7, looking surprised to see her. You're back, he said, kissing her cheek automatically. How was the retreat? Transformative, Serena said, and she meant it. Just not in the way he thought. That's good. I'm glad you got what you needed. He loosened his tie. I'm pretty tired. Mind if we just order in tonight? Sure, Serena said pleasantly. Whatever you want. She watched him settle onto the couch, scrolling through his phone with a slight smile. Was he texting Candace? Telling her he'd have to see her tomorrow instead because his wife was home? It didn't matter. In a few days, Serena would be free of this. Free of the lies and the pretending and the slow death of being married to someone who didn't value her. She ordered dinner, made small talk, and played the part of the returning wife. But inside, she was counting down the hours until she could finally tell the truth. Until she could finally set herself free. The weekend passed in an uncomfortable charade. Serena played the role of devoted wife while Nathan went through the motions of being a husband. They had breakfast together Saturday morning, attended a charity gala Saturday night where Nathan introduced her as, my beautiful wife, while his phone buzzed constantly in his pocket, and spent Sunday afternoon at the country club with friends. To anyone watching, they looked like the perfect couple. Successful, attractive, in sync. Only Serena knew how hollow it all was. Sunday night, after Nathan fell asleep, Serena slipped out of bed and went to his office. She'd avoided snooping during their marriage, believing trust was sacred. That felt foolish now. She opened his laptop, knowing his password because he'd never bothered to hide it from her. His email was a goldmine of evidence. Messages from Candace going back 7 months, filled with intimate details and plans for their future together. One email in particular made Serena's blood run cold. It was from Candace, sent 3 months ago. I know you said you need time to figure out the right moment, but I'm getting impatient. How much longer do we have to hide? When are you going to tell Serena about us? I want to be able to go out in public with you, to not have to sneak around. I want to be the woman on your arm at those galas, not hiding in the background. Nathan's response, soon, I promise. I just need to handle things carefully. Serena's been with me since before the company took off. I owe her a graceful exit. But you're the one I want to build a future with. Just give me a little more time. A graceful exit. As if their marriage was just a business arrangement he needed to dissolve professionally. Serena took screenshots of everything and emailed them to herself. Then she went through his files, finding financial records he'd hidden from her. A separate account she didn't know about. Investments in Candace's name. He'd been moving money, preparing to leave her with as little as possible when he finally got around to his graceful exit. The man she'd married wouldn't have done this. But maybe that man had never existed. Maybe she'd been in love with an illusion all along. She closed the laptop and returned to bed, lying beside Nathan in the darkness. He slept peacefully, unburdened by guilt or worry. Why would he worry? He thought she was completely in the dark, completely trusting, completely foolish. Monday morning, Serena met with Patricia at a coffee shop across town. She brought copies of everything she'd found. Patricia reviewed the documents, her expression growing more serious with each page. He's been planning this for months, she said finally. Moving assets, creating accounts you don't have access to. If you hadn't found out now, you might have ended up with very little. Can we stop him? Serena asked. Absolutely. But we need to move fast. Patricia pulled out her notepad. I'm going to file for an immediate asset freeze. We'll freeze all accounts, prevent any transfers, and get a full accounting of everything he owns. Then we file for divorce with a very clear petition laying out what you're entitled to. How long will it take? I can have the papers ready by Wednesday. We'll serve him Thursday morning at his office. Hit him when he's not expecting it. Serena nodded, her stomach tight. What should I do in the meantime? Act normal. Don't let him suspect anything. And start moving your personal items out quietly. Things that are solely yours. Jewelry, photos, personal documents. I don't think he'll destroy anything out of spite, but better safe than sorry. Over the next 2 days, Serena quietly packed boxes. Family photos. Her grandmother's jewelry. Her college diploma and old journals. She stored everything at Tasha's apartment, making multiple trips while Nathan was at work. She also opened her own bank account, something she should have done years ago. Patricia had advised her to establish financial independence immediately. Tuesday evening, Serena had dinner with Deanna and 3 other women from the charity foundation where she volunteered. It felt strange at first, sitting with these women who knew her as Nathan's wife, talking about things that had nothing to do with him. But as the evening went on, Serena relaxed. They talked about books they were reading, shows they were watching, plans they had for upcoming projects. No one asked about Nathan or expected her to only exist in relation to him. We should do this more often, Deanna said as they were leaving. You seem different tonight. More like yourself. Serena smiled. I'm working on that. On her way home, she got a call from Rita, the private investigator. Thought you should know, Rita said. Your husband just checked into the Grandview Hotel. Same one from the receipt you found. Candace Morrison is with him. Serena pulled over, her hands gripping the steering wheel. He told me he was working late on a presentation. I'm sorry. Do you want me to document it? Yes. Everything. Serena took a deep breath. Thank you, Rita. After hanging up, Serena sat in her car for a long moment. Part of her had hoped, foolishly, that maybe Nathan would feel guilty with her back home. That maybe he'd end the affair or at least pause it. But he hadn't changed at all. He was still lying, still cheating, still spending their money on his mistress while Serena sat at home pretending everything was fine. Tomorrow it would all end. Wednesday morning, Patricia called. Papers are ready. I'm meeting you at your house tomorrow at 9. We'll serve him at his office at 10. I've coordinated with the sheriff's department and they'll have someone there to deliver the papers and the asset freeze order. What happens after? Serena asked. He'll have 30 days to respond. In the meantime, the asset freeze stays in place. No major financial moves from either of you without court approval. I've also included a request for temporary spousal support since you haven't worked during the marriage. I don't want his money, Serena said. I just want what's fair. What's fair is half of everything earned during the marriage. That's California law. You gave up your career to support his. You're entitled to compensation for that. That evening, Serena cooked dinner for the last time in the house she'd called home for 5 years. Nathan came home around 8, distracted and distant. Sorry I'm late, he said, barely looking at her. Work stuff. Of course, Serena said sweetly. I made your favorite. Grilled salmon with roasted vegetables. You seem surprised. Thanks. That's nice of you. They ate in near silence. Nathan checked his phone constantly, smiling at messages Serena knew weren't from work. She wondered if he was texting Candace, if he was telling her about his boring dinner at home, if they were making plans for their next hotel rendezvous. After dinner, Nathan retreated to his office. Serena cleaned up, then went to the bedroom. She pulled out the outfit she'd chosen for tomorrow, a royal blue power suit she'd bought years ago but rarely wore, paired with her good heels and simple gold jewelry. She wanted to look strong and confident when she ended her marriage. She barely slept that night. Nathan came to bed late, smelling of cologne and lies. He fell asleep quickly while Serena lay awake, thinking about how different her life would be after tomorrow. There would be questions from friends and family, gossip in social circles. The charity boards would probably ask her to step down since she'd only gotten those positions through Nathan's connections and donations. But there would also be freedom. The freedom to rebuild her life on her own terms. To figure out who she was outside of being Nathan Mitchell's wife. To maybe, eventually, find someone who would value her the way Nathan never had. Thursday morning arrived. Serena woke early, showered, and dressed carefully. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Not the naive girl who'd married Nathan 5 years ago, and not the broken woman who'd discovered his betrayal 2 weeks ago. This was someone new. Someone stronger. Nathan was already up, getting ready for work. "You're dressed up," he observed. "Got plans today?" "Something like that," Serena said. He kissed her forehead absently, grabbed his briefcase and left. Serena watched from the window as his car disappeared down the driveway. At 9 sharp, Patricia arrived with her associate, a young lawyer named James. They spread paperwork across the dining room table, reviewing everything one last time. "You're sure about this?" Patricia asked, her hand on Serena's shoulder. "Once we file, there's no taking it back." Serena thought about Nathan at the hotel with Candace. About the emails planning her graceful exit. About 7 months of lies and the money he'd hidden from her. "I've never been more certain of anything," she said. At 9:30 they left for Nathan's office. Patricia drove while Serena sat in the back seat, her hands folded in her lap. She felt strangely calm, like she was watching herself from a distance. Mitchell Technologies occupied the top 3 floors of a downtown high-rise. The lobby was all glass and steel, modern and impressive. Serena had been here dozens of times for company parties and events, always as Nathan's wife, always smiling and playing her part. Today was different. They took the elevator to the 23rd floor. Patricia had coordinated with the sheriff's deputy, who was waiting in the lobby with the papers. Together they walked to Nathan's corner office. His assistant, Kelly, looked up in surprise. "Mrs. Mitchell? We didn't have you on the schedule." "It's fine, Kelly," Serena said. "This won't take long." She pushed open Nathan's door without knocking. He was on the phone but looked up, startled to see her. "I'll call you back," he said quickly, hanging up. "Serena? What are you doing here?" "You've been served," the sheriff's deputy said, stepping forward with the papers. Nathan took them, confused. "Served? What is this?" "Divorce papers," Serena said clearly. "And an immediate asset freeze. You're also being notified that I'm claiming half of all marital property and requesting spousal support." The color drained from Nathan's face. "What? Serena, what are you talking about?" "I know about Candace," she said. "I know about the affair. I know about the hotel rooms and the hidden accounts and the money you've been moving. I know everything." Nathan stood, the papers falling from his hands. "Serena, please. Can we talk about this privately?" "No." Her voice was steady, strong. "I'm done talking. I'm done being lied to. I'm done pretending I don't see what's right in front of me." "I can explain," Nathan started, but Patricia stepped forward. "My client has no interest in your explanations, Mr. Mitchell. You'll have 30 days to respond to the petition. All communication should go through me." She handed him her card. "Don't try to contact Mrs. Mitchell directly." Serena turned to leave, but Nathan grabbed her arm. "Wait, please. This is crazy. You can't just walk out like this." She looked down at his hand on her arm, then met his eyes. "Let go of me." He released her immediately. I'm sorry, okay? Can we please just talk about this?" "There's nothing to talk about," Serena said. "You made your choice when you started sleeping with Candace. You made your choice every time you lied to me. You don't get to apologize now just because you got caught." "I love you," Nathan said desperately. Serena almost laughed. "No, you don't. You love having a wife at home while you play house with your girlfriend. But you don't love me. Maybe you never did." She walked out of his office, through the maze of cubicles where employees pretended not to stare, and into the elevator. Patricia and James followed, and they rode down in silence. It wasn't until they reached Patricia's car that Serena finally let herself breathe. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. "You okay?" Patricia asked. Serena nodded. "I'm better than okay. I'm free." The next few days were chaos. Nathan called constantly, his messages shifting from apologetic to angry to desperate. Serena blocked his number after the 15th call. He showed up at the house that evening, but she'd already changed the locks with Patricia's help and had a locksmith document everything for the court. "Serena, please," he shouted through the door. "We can work this out. Just let me in so we can talk." She stood on the other side, her hand pressed against the wood, but she didn't open it. "There's nothing to work out, Nathan. Talk to my lawyer. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. 7 months isn't a mistake. It's a choice. A choice you made over and over again." He pounded on the door. "I love you. Doesn't that count for something? If you loved me, you wouldn't have betrayed me," Serena said quietly. Then she walked away from the door, leaving him outside. Eventually he left. But the next morning flowers arrived. Then jewelry. Then a handwritten letter that Serena didn't read before throwing it away. On Saturday her phone rang from an unknown number. Stupidly she answered. "Serena, it's me," Nathan said quickly. "Please don't hang up." She should have. But something made her stay on the line. "I know I messed up," he continued. "I know I hurt you. But we can get past this. People recover from affairs all the time." "I don't want to recover from this," Serena said. "I want to be done with it. Done with you. You're not thinking clearly. You're hurt and angry and you have every right to be. But throwing away 5 years of marriage? That's not the answer." Serena felt her temper rising. "You threw away our marriage when you slept with Candace. I'm just making it official." "It didn't mean anything," Nathan insisted. "She didn't mean anything. You're my wife. You're the one I chose. Until you chose someone else. Serena, please. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, whatever you want. Just give me a chance to fix this." "Some things can't be fixed, Nathan. And even if they could, I don't want to. I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering if you're cheating again. I don't want to be married to someone I can't trust." "So that's it? You're just giving up?" The audacity of that statement took her breath away. "I'm giving up? You're the one who had an affair. You're the one who lied for 7 months. You're the one who moved money and made plans to leave me. Don't you dare act like I'm the one giving up." "I wasn't planning to leave you," Nathan protested. "I saw the emails, Nathan. You told Candace you were planning a graceful exit for me. You were just waiting for the right time to throw me away." Silence on the other end of the line. Then quietly, "I never meant for you to see those." "I know. You never meant for me to find out about any of it. You thought I was too stupid or too trusting to ever figure it out. But I did. And now you have to deal with the consequences." "I can't lose you," Nathan said, and he actually sounded like he might cry. But Serena felt nothing. No sympathy, no desire to comfort him. "You already did. The moment you touched her, you lost me. You just didn't know it yet." She hung up and blocked that number too. By Monday the news had spread through their social circle. Serena's phone blew up with messages from friends and acquaintances, some genuinely concerned, others clearly fishing for gossip. One message stood out from someone she didn't expect. "Candace, we need to talk. Can we meet somewhere private?" Serena deleted it without responding. She wanted nothing to do with that woman. Whatever Candace had to say, Serena didn't want to hear it. But Candace was persistent. More messages came throughout the day, each one more desperate than the last. "Please, I need to explain. You don't understand what really happened. Nathan told me you were getting divorced. I didn't know he was lying." That last one almost made Serena laugh. Of course Nathan had lied to Candace too. That's what cheaters did. They lied to everyone. Finally, Tasha grabbed Serena's phone. "Stop looking at these. She's just trying to make herself feel better about what she did." "She slept with my husband," Serena said. "For 7 months. In my house. In my bed." "I know. And that's unforgivable. But giving her your attention now doesn't help you. It just gives her power." Serena knew Tasha was right. She handed over her phone. "Keep it for the day. I don't want to see any more messages." That afternoon, Patricia called with an update. Nathan's lawyer filed a response. He's contesting the asset split, claiming he should get more because he built the business. What does that mean? It means we're going to court. But don't worry. California law is clear. Assets acquired during marriage are split 50-50 unless there's a prenup, which you don't have. He can contest all he wants, but the law is on our side. How long will it take? Could be months. Could be over a year if he drags it out. These things take time. Serena felt exhausted at the thought. "I just want it to be over." "I know. But we'll get through this. In the meantime, focus on you. Start thinking about what you want your life to look like after this is done." That was harder than it sounded. For 5 years, Serena's identity had been wrapped up in being Nathan's wife. She'd given up her job, her independence, her sense of self. Now she had to figure out who she was without him. She started small. She joined a gym and started working out every morning. She called old friends and reconnected, building a support system that wasn't tied to Nathan. She volunteered more at the charity foundation, taking on projects that challenged her. And she started thinking about going back to work. She had a business degree from a good school and experience from before her marriage. Maybe it wasn't too late to rebuild a career. 2 weeks after serving the divorce papers, Serena met with a career counselor recommended by Deanna. The woman, Rachel, was in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. "Tell me about yourself," Rachel said. "Not about your marriage or your husband. Just you." "Who are you, Serena?" It was a simple question, but Serena found herself struggling to answer. Who was she? What did she like? What did she want? "I don't know," she admitted finally. "I used to know. But I think I lost myself somewhere along the way." "Then let's find you again," Rachel said with a smile. They spent the next hour talking about Serena's interests, her skills, her dreams. By the end of the session, Serena felt lighter, like maybe there was a path forward after all. That evening, she sat in Tasha's apartment where she'd been staying, looking through her old portfolios from business school. She'd been good at marketing and strategy, had even had job offers from several firms before Nathan convinced her she didn't need to work. Maybe it was time to dust off those skills and put them to use. Her phone rang. It was an unknown number again, but this time she recognized Nathan's office number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "What?" "It's me," Nathan said. "Please don't hang up. I just need 5 minutes." "You have to." "I fired Candace," he said quickly. "She doesn't work for me anymore. I ended everything with her. I told her it was a mistake and that I want to work things out with you." Serena felt nothing. No relief, no satisfaction. Just a tired sort of emptiness. Okay. That's all you have to say." "What do you want me to say, Nathan? Thank you for ending your affair? Congratulations on doing the bare minimum? I thought you'd be happy. I thought this is what you wanted." "What I wanted was a faithful husband. What I wanted was not to be betrayed. You can't give me that. You can't undo what you did. So nothing I do matters? I'm just supposed to give up?" "I didn't ask you to do anything," Serena said. "I asked you for a divorce. That's all I want from you now." "I'm not giving up on us," Nathan said stubbornly. "There is no us anymore. There's just you and me and a marriage that's ending. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be." She hung up and turned off her phone completely. Tasha found her sitting in the dark an hour later. "You okay?" "He fired Candace," Serena said. "He thinks that fixes everything." "Does it?" "No. Nothing fixes this. It's broken beyond repair." Tasha sat beside her, pulling Serena into a hug. "Then you build something new. Something better. Something that's just yours." Serena nodded, letting herself be held. She was tired of being strong, tired of pretending she was fine. She wasn't fine. Her marriage was over, her life was in upheaval, and she had no idea what came next. But she also knew she'd made the right choice. Staying with Nathan would have meant a lifetime of wondering, of never fully trusting, of always being a little bit less than she deserved. Leaving was hard. But staying would have been harder. A month after filing for divorce, Serena moved into her own apartment. It was smaller than the house in the hills, but it was hers. No memories of Nathan. No ghosts of what her marriage had been. She spent a weekend furnishing it with Tasha's help, choosing bright colors and modern pieces that reflected her taste, not Nathan's. A crimson couch. Teal accent chairs. Art that made her smile instead of impressing guests. "This looks like you," Tasha said, surveying the living room. "The real you." Serena smiled. "It does, doesn't it?" For the first time in years she felt at home. She also started therapy. Her counselor, Dr. Harrison, specialized in helping people rebuild after divorce. Their first session was difficult, Serena breaking down as she talked about the betrayal and the loss. "It's not just losing Nathan," she explained. "It's losing the life I thought I had. The future I thought we were building. I feel like I wasted 5 years." "You didn't waste them," Dr. Harrison said gently. "You lived them. You learned from them. And now you get to take those lessons and build something new." "I don't even know where to start." "Start with figuring out what you want. Not what Nathan wanted or what you think you should want. What do you actually want, Serena?" That question haunted her for days. What did she want? She wanted to work. To use her brain and skills for something meaningful. To build her own success instead of basking in someone else's. She wanted friends who knew her as Serena, not as Nathan's wife. People who valued her for who she was. She wanted to travel. To see places Nathan had been too busy for. To have adventures that were just hers. And eventually, maybe she wanted to fall in love again. With someone who would be faithful. Someone who would value her. Someone who would choose her every day, not just when it was convenient. But first she had to rebuild herself. Serena reached out to her old contacts from business school, letting people know she was re-entering the workforce. The responses surprised her. Several people remembered her work and were interested in talking. She had coffee with a former classmate, Trevor, who now ran his own marketing consultancy. "I remember your presentation on brand strategy," Trevor said. "You had this way of seeing the big picture that most people miss. Are you looking for a full-time position?" "I'm open to options," Serena said carefully. "I've been out of the field for a while. 5 years isn't that long. And you've been running a household and managing charity work, right? Those are transferable skills. Planning, budgeting, coordinating with different stakeholders." Serena hadn't thought of it that way. She dismissed her time as a wife as wasted, but Trevor was right. She'd been managing Nathan's social calendar, organizing major fundraising events, sitting on boards that oversaw multi-million-dollar budgets. Those were real skills. "I might have some contract work if you're interested," Trevor continued. "A few clients need help with strategy development. Flexible hours, decent pay, chance to get back into the swing of things." "I'm interested," Serena said, feeling a spark of excitement. By the end of the meeting, she had her first client, a startup looking to refine their brand messaging. It wasn't much, but it was a start. That evening, she celebrated by cooking herself a real dinner in her new kitchen. No takeout, no eating alone while Nathan worked late. Just her, music playing, enjoying the act of creating something for herself. Her phone rang. Nathan again from yet another new number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Stop calling," she said immediately. "I miss you," Nathan said, his voice rough. "The house is empty without you. Everything reminds me of you. That's not my problem anymore. How can you be so cold? We were married for 5 years. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" Serena set down her knife, her patience finally snapping. "It meant everything to me, Nathan. That's why it hurts so much that you threw it away. But you don't get to call me cold when you're the one who cheated. You don't get to act like the victim here. I'm not trying to be the victim. I'm trying to save our marriage. Our marriage is dead. You killed it when you slept with Candace. I'm just making it official." "People forgive affairs all the time," Nathan argued. "Couples work through this. Good for them. But I don't want to be one of those couples. I don't want to spend the rest of my life trying to get over what you did. I deserve better than that." "Better than me?" "Yes," Serena said firmly. "Better than someone who lies to me. Better than someone who hides money and makes plans to leave me with nothing. Better than someone who values me so little that he brings another woman into our home." "I made a mistake," Nathan said, his voice breaking. "I'm human. I'm flawed. But I love you, Serena. That has to count for something." "It doesn't. Not anymore." She took a breath, steadying herself. "I need you to stop calling. I need you to accept that this is over. For both of our sakes." "I can't," Nathan whispered. "You have to. Because I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with you. Move on, Nathan." "I already have." She hung up and blocked the number. Then she turned off her phone and went back to cooking, refusing to let him ruin her evening. Over the next few weeks, Serena threw herself into work. Trevor's client loved her strategy proposal and hired her for additional projects. Word spread, and soon she had 3 clients, then 5. She worked from her apartment, enjoying the flexibility and the challenge. Every successful project boosted her confidence a little more. She was good at this. She'd forgotten how good she was. Deanna invited her to a networking event for professional women in business. Serena almost said no, feeling like an imposter. But she forced herself to go, wearing a green dress that made her feel confident. The event was full of accomplished women, all sharing stories and advice. Serena found herself in a conversation with a group discussing work-life balance and career pivots. "I took 5 years off to support my husband's career," Serena admitted. "I'm just now getting back into the workforce." "That takes courage," one woman said. "Starting over is never easy." "It's not starting over," another woman corrected. "It's starting fresh. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. You're bringing new experience and perspective to your work." Serena liked that reframing. She wasn't going backward. She was moving forward with everything she'd learned. By the end of the evening, she'd collected several business cards and set up coffee meetings with potential clients and collaborators. She drove home feeling energized and hopeful. 3 months after filing for divorce, Serena attended her first court hearing. Patricia had warned her it would be procedural, mostly establishing timelines and requirements. Nathan was there with his lawyer, a sharp-dressed man named Robert. Nathan looked tired, older somehow. He tried to catch Serena's eye, but she focused on Patricia. The judge reviewed the case, set dates for discovery and mediation, and established temporary support payments. It was all very businesslike, reducing their marriage to legal terms and financial calculations. As they left the courthouse, Nathan approached her. "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" "No," Serena said, not breaking stride. "Please. I just want to understand. What did I do that was so unforgivable? People have affairs. It happens. Why can't you forgive me?" Serena stopped and turned to face him. "You want to know what's unforgivable? It's not just the affair, Nathan. It's that you made me feel crazy for suspecting it. It's that you lied to my face every day for 7 months. It's that you moved money and planned to leave me with nothing. It's that you never once considered my feelings or my worth. The affair was just the symptom. The real problem is that you never truly valued me as a partner or a person." "That's not true," Nathan protested. "I always valued you." "No. You valued having a wife. You valued the image we presented. But me as a person? You never saw me at all." She walked away, leaving him standing on the courthouse steps. In the car, Patricia squeezed her hand. "You did great in there. And that speech. Perfect." Serena smiled tiredly. "I've had a lot of time to think about it. The discovery process starts next week. His lawyers will try to hide assets, but we'll find them. You're going to get everything you're entitled to." "I don't care about the money," Serena said. "I just want to be free." "You'll be both," Patricia promised. That evening, Serena had dinner with Tasha and Deanna at a new restaurant downtown. They laughed and talked about everything except Nathan and the divorce. For a few hours, Serena felt like a normal person having a normal night out with friends. "You look happy," Deanna observed. "Really happy." "I am," Serena realized. "For the first time in a long time, I'm actually happy." "That's the best revenge," Tasha said, raising her glass. "Living well." They toasted to new beginnings and second chances. Walking to her car later, Serena realized how far she'd come. For months ago, she'd been a woman who'd just discovered her husband's betrayal, broken and uncertain. Now she was building a business, making plans, creating a life that was entirely her own. She still had hard days. Days when she mourned what she'd lost or worried about the future. But those days were becoming fewer and farther between. She was healing. And more than that, she was becoming someone she actually liked. Someone strong and independent. Someone who didn't need a man to define her worth. Nathan had tried to break her. But instead he'd freed her. And that, Serena thought as she drove home through the city lights, was the best possible outcome. The story broke on a Friday morning. Someone leaked details of Nathan's affair to a tech industry blog known for gossip and insider information. By noon, it had spread to major business publications. "Billionaire tech CEO's marriage crumbles after affair with employee," the headlines read. Some outlets were more sympathetic to Nathan, framing him as a powerful man who'd made a mistake. Others focused on the power dynamics of him having an affair with someone who worked for him. Serena's phone exploded with calls from reporters and acquaintances. She turned it off and went to the gym, refusing to engage with any of it. But the fallout was immediate. Nathan's company stock dipped as investors worried about his judgment. The board called an emergency meeting. And Candace, who had been quietly working at another tech firm after Nathan fired her, found herself at the center of unwanted attention. Patricia called that evening. "Have you seen the news?" "I'm avoiding it," Serena said. "Probably wise." Nathan's lawyer called. "He wants to expedite the divorce. The publicity is killing him and he wants it over." "Good. That's what I want too." "They're offering a settlement. 50% of all marital assets, plus 3 years of spousal support while you reestablish your career." Serena did the math in her head. With Nathan's wealth, 50% was more money than she'd ever need. "What's the catch?" "You have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. No talking to the press, no tell-all books, no public comments about the marriage or the affair." Serena considered this. She had no desire to talk to the press anyway. Her story was hers, not entertainment for strangers. "I can live with that. There's one more thing. He wants you to make a public statement saying the divorce is amicable and you both wish each other well." "No," Serena said immediately. "I'll sign the NDA. I'll take the settlement. But I won't lie and say everything's fine." Patricia sighed. "I told them you'd say that. Let me see if I can negotiate around it." 2 days later, Patricia called back. "They've agreed to drop the public statement requirement. The settlement stands. We can sign the papers next week if you're ready." "I'm ready," Serena said. But before the papers could be signed, Candace reached out again. This time, she showed up at Serena's apartment. Serena opened the door to find the woman who'd slept with her husband standing in the hallway looking nervous. "What are you doing here?" Serena demanded. Please, I just need 5 minutes, Candace said. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. You slept with my husband. For 7 months. That's all I need to know. I didn't know he was still married to you. Not really. He told me you were separated, that you were just waiting to file the papers. Serena laughed bitterly. And you believed him? Yes, Candace said desperately. I know how it sounds, but I really did. He seemed so sincere. He said you'd grown apart, that you wanted different things, that the marriage had been over for years. He lied to you. Just like he lied to me. I know that now. Candace's eyes filled with tears. I've lost my job. My reputation is destroyed. People are calling me a homewrecker and a gold digger. I just wanted you to know I never meant to hurt you. Serena looked at this woman, this stranger who'd been intimate with her husband, and felt nothing. No anger, no sympathy. Just a detached sort of observation. I don't care, Serena said finally. I don't care what Nathan told you or what you believed. I don't care that you're suffering consequences. You made choices, and choices have consequences. That's not my problem. I'm sorry, Candace whispered. I don't want your apology. I want you to leave me alone. Both of you. Go build a life together if that's what you want. Or don't. Either way, it has nothing to do with me. She closed the door, leaving Candace in the hallway. Tasha, who'd been listening from the kitchen, came out. You okay? I'm fine, Serena said, and meant it. She's Nathan's problem now. The settlement papers were signed the following Tuesday. Serena sat in Patricia's office, reading through page after page of legal language that dissolved her marriage and divided her life with Nathan into assets and liabilities. When she signed her name for the final time, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It's done, Patricia said. You're officially separated. The divorce will be final in 6 months per California law, but this is the hard part over. Serena nodded, looking at the papers that ended her marriage. 5 years reduced to signatures and legal terms. How do you feel? Patricia asked. Free, Serena said. I feel free. That evening she celebrated with her closest friends. Tasha, Deanna, and a few other women gathered at Serena's apartment with wine and food. To Serena, Deanna toasted. Who had the courage to walk away and start over? They drank and laughed and told stories. Someone suggested they burn something of Nathan's, but Serena declined. I don't need symbolic gestures, she said. He's out of my life. That's enough. As the night wore on, the conversation turned to the future. What's next for you? One friend asked. Serena thought about her growing consulting business, the apartment she loved, the life she was building. Whatever I want, she said with a smile. That's the beauty of starting over. I get to choose. The news cycle moved on from Nathan's scandal within a week, replaced by new dramas and controversies. But the damage to his reputation lingered. He stepped down as CEO of Mitchell Technologies, though he remained on the board. The company brought in new leadership to restore investor confidence. Serena watched from a distance, feeling nothing. His professional troubles weren't her concern. She had her own life to build. She expanded her consulting business, taking on bigger clients and more complex projects. She hired an assistant and started thinking about opening an actual office instead of working from home. One client, a mid-sized tech company looking to rebrand, offered her a position as their chief marketing officer. The salary was substantial, the benefits excellent, and the opportunity to lead a team appealing. Serena accepted, marking her official return to the corporate world. Not as someone's wife, but as a professional in her own right. On her first day, she wore a maroon power suit and her favorite heels. She walked into the office with her head high, ready to prove herself. And she did. Within 3 months, she'd restructured the marketing department, launched a successful campaign, and earned the respect of her colleagues. She was good at this. Better than she'd remembered. And this time, success was hers alone. 5 months after filing for divorce, Serena attended a charity gala for the foundation where she volunteered. She wore a blue gown that made her feel beautiful and confident. Nathan was there. She'd known he might be, as he'd been a major donor for years. But she hadn't expected to feel so indifferent when she saw him. He looked older, tired. He was alone, no Candace on his arm. When their eyes met across the room, he started toward her. Don't, Tasha warned, but Serena waved her off. It's fine. I can handle him. Nathan approached cautiously. Serena, you look beautiful. Thank you, she said politely. How have you been? Good. Really good, actually. I took a position as CMO at Hartwell Technologies. Something flickered in Nathan's eyes. Surprise? Pride. She couldn't tell and didn't care. That's great. I always knew you were talented. Did you? Serena asked. Because you never seemed to think my career mattered when we were married. Nathan flinched. I was wrong about a lot of things. Yes, you were. An uncomfortable silence stretched between them. I miss you, Nathan said finally. I miss us. There is no us, Nathan. There hasn't been for a long time. I know. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better. Serena looked at him, this man she'd once loved, and felt only a distant sort of pity. Yes, I did. But I'm getting better now. I'm building a life I'm proud of. You should do the same. She walked away, leaving him standing alone at the gala. That was very mature of you, Deanna commented. It was honest, Serena corrected. I meant what I said. I hope he builds a good life. I just don't want to be any part of it. The divorce was finalized on a rainy Tuesday in March. Serena didn't go to court. Patricia handled everything while Serena was at work, leading a presentation to potential investors. When Patricia called with the news, Serena was in a meeting. She excused herself and took the call in the hallway. It's official, Patricia said. You're divorced. Serena waited for the emotional response. Tears or relief or something. But she just felt calm. Thank you, she said. For everything. You did the hard work, Patricia said. I just made it legal. After hanging up, Serena stood in the hallway for a moment, absorbing this new reality. She was no longer married. No longer tied to Nathan in any legal way. She was just Serena. And that was enough. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Serena's life looked completely different. She'd been promoted to senior vice president at Hartwell Technologies, overseeing not just marketing but also brand strategy and corporate communications. Her salary was substantial, her team respected her, and she was making a real impact. But more than professional success, she'd found peace. Her apartment had become a true home, filled with things she loved. Books stacked on every surface. Art from local galleries. Plants she actually remembered to water. A life that reflected who she was, not who she thought she should be. She'd also started traveling. She spent a long weekend in New Orleans, eating amazing food and listening to live music. She took a week in Colorado hiking and enjoying the mountains. She visited New York for a business conference and stayed an extra few days to see shows and explore the city. Each trip was an adventure, each experience hers alone. No compromising on restaurants because Nathan didn't like that type of food. No cutting trips short because he had work. Just her doing exactly what she wanted. Deanna invited her to join a book club, and Serena found herself with a new circle of friends who knew her only as Serena, not as Nathan's ex-wife. They met monthly to discuss literature and life, building genuine connections. She also continued therapy, working through the lingering effects of the betrayal and the marriage. I think I ignored red flags, she told Dr. Harrison during one session. Even before the affair, there were signs that Nathan didn't really see me as an equal partner. Like what? Dr. Harrison asked. He made all the big decisions. Where we'd live, how we'd spend money, what social events we'd attend. I went along with it because I thought that's what supportive wives did. But looking back, I had no real voice in our marriage. What would you do differently now? Serena thought about it. I'd speak up. I'd insist on being an equal partner. And if someone didn't want that, I'd walk away before wasting years of my life. That's growth, Dr. Harrison said with a smile. At work, Serena was thriving. She'd launched a campaign that increased brand awareness by 40% and brought in several major clients. The CEO, Richard, had personally congratulated her. You've been a tremendous asset to this company, he said. I hope you're planning to stay with us for the long term. I am, Serena confirmed. I'm invested in what we're building here. She meant it. For the first time since leaving her old job to marry Nathan, she felt professionally fulfilled. She was using her skills, being challenged, making a real difference. Her assistant, a bright young woman named Sophie, often stayed late to work on projects with Serena. One evening, as they were finishing a presentation, Sophie asked a personal question. Can I ask how you got here? I mean, I know you took time off and came back, but how did you build your confidence back? Serena considered the question. I stopped waiting for someone else to validate me. I stopped thinking I needed permission to take up space or use my voice. I just started doing what I knew I was good at and people responded to that. Did you ever doubt yourself? All the time, Serena admitted. I still do sometimes. But I do it anyway. That's the secret. You don't wait until you're confident. You act and confidence follows. Sophie nodded thoughtfully. Thank you. That helps. Watching Sophie leave for the night, Serena felt a sense of satisfaction. Not just in her own growth but in being able to help someone else. 8 months post-divorce, Serena was having lunch with Tasha when she brought up something she'd been thinking about. I want to start something of my own, she said. A consultancy maybe? Or an agency. Something that's mine from the ground up. What's stopping you? Tasha asked. Fear mostly. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? Or what if you succeed? What if you build something amazing? Serena smiled. When did you become so wise? I've always been wise. You just weren't listening. That night, Serena started making plans. She had savings from the divorce settlement that she'd barely touched. She had skills and experience. She had a network of contacts who trusted her work. She could do this. Over the next few weeks, she worked on a business plan. She researched market needs, identified potential clients, outlined services she could offer. The more she planned, the more excited she became. She decided to give notice at Hartwell Technologies, explaining to Richard that she was ready to start her own venture. I hate to lose you, Richard said. But I respect the decision. And I hope you'll consider Hartwell as a client when you launch. Absolutely, Serena said, touched by his support. On her last day, her team threw her a small party. Sophie presented her with a framed photo of the team and a card everyone had signed. You've taught me so much, Sophie said. About business and about believing in myself. Serena hugged her, feeling emotional. You're going to do amazing things. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. Starting her own business was terrifying and exhilarating. Serena rented a small office space, hired a part-time assistant, and officially launched Mitchell Marketing Solutions. She'd kept the Mitchell name despite the divorce. It was her name too, she'd decided. She'd earned it through 5 years of marriage and she wasn't going to let Nathan's betrayal take it from her. Her first client was Hartwell Technologies, true to Richard's word. Then Deanna referred her to the foundation's board, which hired her to help with their annual fundraising campaign. Word spread, and soon Serena had a steady stream of clients. She worked harder than she ever had, but it was different now. This was her business, her vision, her success. Every late night and early morning was an investment in herself. 3 months after launching, she hired her first full-time employee, a talented designer named Marcus, who she quickly realized was the wrong name for her story but decided to keep because he was perfect for the role. Actually, she hired James instead. A talented designer who shared her vision and work ethic. 6 months after launching, she moved to a bigger office space to accommodate her growing team. She now had 5 employees and more clients than she could handle alone. 1 year after her divorce was finalized, Serena stood in her office, looking at the team she'd built and the business she'd created, and felt overwhelming pride. She'd done this on her own. Without Nathan's money or connections or name recognition. She'd built something real and valuable and hers. Her phone rang. It was a reporter from a business magazine. We're doing a piece on women entrepreneurs in tech, the reporter said. Your name came up several times as someone making waves in the industry. Would you be willing to be interviewed? Serena agreed, and the resulting article positioned her as an emerging leader in marketing strategy. The headline read, Serena Mitchell, Building Success on Her Own Terms. When the magazine came out, Serena bought several copies. She sent one to her mother, one to Tasha, and kept one for herself. She was no longer defined by her failed marriage or her ex-husband's success. She was Serena Mitchell, CEO and founder of a thriving marketing firm. A woman who'd faced betrayal and heartbreak and had chosen to build something beautiful from the ruins. And she was just getting started. Despite everything, Nathan wouldn't let go completely. He didn't call anymore, but he found other ways to stay in her life. Donations to the foundation in her name. Sending gifts to her office. Showing up at industry events he'd never attended before. Serena ignored it all, but it was annoying. She'd moved on. Why couldn't he? 10 months after the divorce, she ran into him at a tech conference in San Francisco. She was there as a speaker, presenting on brand authenticity in the digital age. He was there as an attendee, trying to rebuild his reputation after the scandal. After her presentation, Nathan approached her in the hallway. That was impressive, he said. You've really come into your own. Thank you, Serena said politely, trying to move past him. Can we talk? Just for a few minutes? I don't think that's a good idea. Please. I've been trying to reach you for months. I know. I've been ignoring you for months. That should tell you something. Nathan flinched. I deserve that. But I need to say this. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I lost you. I see that now. And I know I can't undo what I did, but I want you to know I've changed. Good for you, Serena said. I hope you're happy. I'm not. I haven't been happy since you left. That's not my problem, Nathan. I'm not responsible for your happiness anymore. I know. I just thought. I don't know what I thought. Maybe that enough time had passed. That we could try again. Serena stared at him, genuinely shocked. You can't be serious. I am. We were good together once. We could be good again. We were never good together, Serena said firmly. I was just too caught up in being your wife to see it. But I see it now. We weren't partners. We weren't equals. I was an accessory, and when you got bored with me, you found someone new. It wasn't like that, Nathan protested. It was exactly like that. And even if it wasn't, even if you genuinely want me back now, the answer is no. I don't want the life we had. I don't want to be married to you. I don't even want to be friends with you. So that's it? You just want nothing to do with me? Exactly. I want you to stop sending gifts and making donations in my name and showing up at events. I want you to move on with your life and let me move on with mine. I can't just turn off my feelings, Nathan said. Then that's something you need to work through with a therapist. But it's not my concern. Serena softened slightly. Nathan, we both need to let this go. What we had is over. It's been over for a long time. Holding on to it isn't healthy for either of us. You're really not coming back, Nathan said, like he was finally accepting it. No, I'm really not. He nodded slowly, his shoulders sagging. I'm sorry. For everything. I hope you know that. I do. And I hope you find happiness. Just not with me. She walked away, and this time he didn't follow. Later that evening, Serena had dinner with a potential client. The meeting went well, resulting in a major contract for her company. As she celebrated with a glass of wine, she realized she hadn't thought about Nathan once during the dinner. He was becoming less and less relevant to her life. And that felt right. A few weeks later, Serena was invited to speak at a women's entrepreneurship summit. She shared her story, carefully avoiding personal details but being honest about the challenges of starting over and building a business from scratch. I had to learn to believe in myself again, she told the audience. To trust my instincts and my abilities. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. After the talk, several women approached her with their own stories of divorce, career changes, and second acts. Serena found herself giving advice and encouragement, realizing how far she'd come. One woman about her age pulled her aside. How did you do it? How did you stop being angry? I didn't stop being angry, Serena admitted. I just stopped letting anger drive my decisions. I focused on building something positive instead of tearing down what was negative. Did he ever apologize? Your ex? Yes, multiple times. But apologies don't fix everything. Sometimes you just have to accept that something is broken and move forward. The woman nodded thoughtfully. Thank you. That helps. As Serena drove home, she thought about that conversation. She'd spent so much energy being angry at Nathan, feeling betrayed and hurt. But at some point, that anger had transformed into something else. Not forgiveness exactly, but release. She'd let go of needing him to suffer or to understand what he'd done to her. She'd let go of needing closure or explanations. She'd just let go. And in that letting go, she'd found freedom. Around the 1-year anniversary of her divorce, Serena's mother came to visit. They had dinner at Serena's apartment, her mother admiring the life her daughter had built. I'm proud of you, her mother said. You could have let this break you. Instead, you used it to become stronger. I had to, Serena said. I couldn't stay broken. A lot of people do. They let one person's betrayal define the rest of their life. But you didn't. You chose differently. They talked about other things. Her mother's garden. Serena's upcoming business trip to Boston. Plans for the holidays. As her mother was leaving, she hugged Serena tightly. Are you happy, baby? Really happy? Serena thought about it. Her thriving business. Her independence. Her peace of mind. Yes, she said. I really am. Then that's all that matters. That night, Serena stood on her balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Nathan was living his life. Maybe he'd moved on. Maybe he was still stuck in the past. It didn't matter. She had her own life now. Her own success. Her own happiness. And that was more than enough. The final financial settlement came through on a crisp autumn morning. Patricia called to let Serena know all assets had been divided, all accounts settled, everything finalized. It's done, Patricia said. You're completely free. Serena looked at the numbers on the settlement statement. Half of Nathan's wealth, accumulated during their marriage, now belonged to her. It was more money than she'd ever imagined having. But more important than the money was what it represented. Justice. Fairness. Recognition that her 5 years of sacrifice and support had value. "Thank you," Serena said to Patricia. "For everything. You fought for yourself," Patricia said. "I just helped make it legal." That evening, Serena gathered her closest friends at her favorite restaurant. Tasha, Deanna, and a few other women who'd supported her through the divorce and its aftermath. "To new beginnings," Tasha toasted. "And to Serena, who showed us all what strength looks like." They raised their glasses, celebrating not just the settlement but everything Serena had accomplished. Her business was thriving with 15 employees and major clients. Her reputation in the industry was solid. She'd rebuilt her life completely. "What's next?" Deanna asked. "Now that the divorce is completely behind you?" Serena thought about it. "I want to grow the business. Maybe expand to other cities. I've been thinking about opening an office in New York." "That's exciting," Tasha said. "But what about your personal life? Are you ready to start dating again?" Serena laughed. "Maybe. I don't know. I'm happy on my own right now." "You should at least be open to it," Deanna suggested. "You deserve to find someone who treats you right." "I'll think about it," Serena promised, though she wasn't sure she was ready. The truth was, she'd been on a few casual dates over the past year. Coffee with a guy from her gym. Dinner with someone Deanna had set her up with. A networking event where she'd connected with an entrepreneur who asked for her number. But none of them had felt right. Not because they weren't good guys, but because Serena wasn't ready to open herself up to that kind of vulnerability again. Maybe someday. But not yet. A few weeks later, Serena was invited to speak at a panel discussion on women in leadership. She sat alongside other female executives and entrepreneurs, sharing insights and experiences. During the Q&A, someone asked how she balanced work and personal life. "Honestly, I don't," Serena admitted. "Right now, my business is my priority. Maybe that will change in the future, but for now, I'm okay with being focused on my career." Another panelist, a woman in her 50s who'd built a successful tech company, nodded in agreement. "There's this expectation that women should have it all figured out. Career, relationship, family, perfect work-life balance. But sometimes you have to prioritize one area to make it successful. That's not failure. That's strategy." After the panel, several women approached Serena, thanking her for her honesty. "I've been feeling guilty for focusing on my career instead of dating," one woman confessed. "But hearing you say it's okay, that helps." Serena smiled. "It's more than okay. It's your life. You get to decide what matters most." As she drove home, Serena reflected on how much she'd grown. A year ago, she would have felt defensive about being single. Like she needed to explain or justify it. Now she was comfortable with her choices. She was building something meaningful. She was happy. She was enough. In November, Serena's company won a major industry award for innovation in marketing strategy. She accepted the award at a gala, wearing a green dress that made her feel powerful and beautiful. "This award represents the hard work of my entire team," she said in her acceptance speech. "But it also represents something more personal. It represents the possibility of second acts and new beginnings. Of taking setbacks and turning them into opportunities. Thank you." The applause was genuine and warm. After the ceremony, several people approached her with business cards and partnership proposals. Nathan was there. She'd known he might be, as he'd won the same award 3 years prior. He approached her as she was leaving. "Congratulations," he said. "You've built something really impressive." "Thank you," Serena said. "I mean it. I always knew you were capable of this. I just wish." He trailed off. "Don't," Serena said gently. "Don't wish for what might have been. We both need to focus on what is." Nathan nodded. "You're right. I just want you to know I'm happy for you. Really. I appreciate that. And I hope you're doing well too." "I am. I've been in therapy working on myself. Trying to understand why I did what I did." "That's good. Everyone should do that work." An awkward pause stretched between them. "I should go," Serena said finally. "My team is waiting." "Of course. Take care, Serena." "You too, Nathan." She walked away feeling a sense of closure. Not because of anything Nathan had said, but because she realized she didn't need anything from him anymore. Not explanations, not apologies, not even acknowledgement. She was complete without him. As the year drew to a close, Serena reflected on everything that had changed. 18 months ago, she'd been a woman discovering her husband's betrayal. Now she was a successful entrepreneur, a respected voice in her industry, and genuinely happy with her life. She'd lost her marriage, but she'd gained herself. And that was the greatest victory of all. 1 year and 2 months after her divorce was finalized, Serena attended a charity fundraiser for a children's literacy program. She'd been supporting the organization for months and had helped them develop a new marketing strategy. At the event, she found herself in conversation with a man she didn't recognize. He was tall, with kind eyes and an easy smile. He wore a blue suit that fit him perfectly. "I loved your presentation on brand storytelling," he said. "Very insightful." "Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met." He extended his hand. "Gregory Hamilton. I run a nonprofit focused on education access. A mutual friend suggested I talk to you about helping with our outreach efforts." They talked for an hour, the conversation flowing naturally from business to books to travel. Gregory was intelligent and funny, with a passion for his work that reminded Serena of her own dedication to her business. "I'd love to set up a meeting to discuss your organization," Serena said. "Here's my card." "Great. And maybe if you're interested we could grab coffee sometime?" "Not business related." Serena felt her heart skip. She hadn't felt attracted to anyone in months. But there was something about Gregory that made her want to say yes. "I'd like that," she said. Their first coffee date was on a Saturday morning at a small cafe near Serena's office. They talked for 3 hours, losing track of time as they shared stories and dreams. Gregory had been divorced for 2 years, married young to someone he'd grown apart from. He was upfront about his past, honest about his mistakes, and clear about what he wanted in a relationship. "I'm looking for a partner," he said. "Someone who has their own life and interests but wants to build something together. Someone who values honesty and communication." "That sounds nice," Serena said carefully. "But I should tell you I'm not looking for anything serious right now. My business is my priority." "I respect that. How about we just enjoy getting to know each other and see where it goes?" They went on more dates. Dinner at a new restaurant. A concert. A long walk through the park. Gregory was patient and respectful, never pushing for more than Serena was ready to give. 3 months into dating, Serena realized she was falling for him. Not the desperate, all-consuming way she'd loved Nathan, but something steadier and more real. Gregory treated her as an equal. He listened when she talked about work, celebrated her successes and supported her ambitions. He had his own life and career, never expecting her to sacrifice her goals for his. "I like you," Serena told him one evening over dinner. "A lot. But I'm scared." "Of what?" Gregory asked gently. "Of getting hurt again. Of trusting someone and being wrong." Gregory took her hand. "I can't promise I'll never hurt you. People make mistakes. But I can promise I'll always be honest with you. I'll always respect you. And I'll never make you feel like you're not enough." Serena felt tears prick her eyes. "That's all I've ever wanted." They took things slowly. Serena introduced Gregory to Tasha and Deanna, who approved enthusiastically. Gregory introduced her to his parents and his close friends, who welcomed her warmly. 6 months into their relationship, Gregory asked Serena to move in with him. "I'm not ready for that," Serena said honestly. "I love my independence. I'm not ready to give that up." "Then don't," Gregory said. "Keep your apartment. I'll keep mine. But maybe we could talk about finding a place together when you are ready. No rush." Serena appreciated that he didn't push. That he valued her autonomy as much as he valued their relationship. A year into dating, Serena's business celebrated its 2nd anniversary. She'd grown from 5 employees to 25. She'd opened a satellite office in New York. She'd won multiple industry awards and had been featured in several major publications. At the anniversary party, surrounded by her team and friends, Serena gave a speech. "2 years ago I was starting over," she said. "I was scared and uncertain, but I knew I wanted to build something meaningful. Something that was truly mine. And you all helped me do that. This company isn't just my dream anymore. It's our dream. Our success. Thank you for being part of this journey." Gregory was there watching her with pride. After the party, they walked along the waterfront, enjoying the cool evening air. "You've built something amazing," he said. "I'm constantly impressed by you. Thank you. And thank you for supporting me. For understanding when I have to work late or travel for business. That's what partnerships are about. We both have things we're passionate about. We support each other in pursuing them." Serena stopped walking, turning to face him. "I love you," she said. It was the first time she'd said it. Gregory's face lit up. I love you too. I have for a while. They kissed and Serena felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope for the future. Trust in someone other than herself. The possibility of building something lasting with someone who truly valued her. 18 months after meeting Gregory, Serena finally agreed to move in together. They found a beautiful loft with space for both of them to work from home when needed. It wasn't about giving up independence. It was about choosing to share her life with someone who made it better. 2 years after meeting Gregory, Serena's mother asked if they'd thought about marriage. We've talked about it, Serena admitted. But I'm not in a rush. I was married before and it didn't work out. This time, I want to be absolutely certain. And are you? Certain? Serena thought about Gregory. How he made her laugh. How he supported her dreams. How he treated her as an equal partner in every way. I'm getting there, she said with a smile. 3 years after her divorce, Serena stood in her office, looking at the team she'd built and the life she'd created. She had a thriving business, meaningful relationships, and a partner who truly valued her. Nathan was a distant memory now, someone she'd known in another life. She bore him no ill will, but she also never thought about him unless someone specifically asked. She'd built something beautiful from the ashes of her failed marriage. Not just a successful business but a full, rich life that was entirely her own. Tasha called to invite her to dinner. Can Gregory come? Tasha asked. Of course. He's part of the family now. Speaking of which, Tasha said carefully, have you two talked about making things permanent? Serena laughed. Everyone wants to know about marriage. Why is that the measure of success? It's not. But we want you to be happy. I'm happy. Marriage or no marriage, I'm building a life I love with someone I love. That's enough. But that evening, Gregory surprised her. They were having a quiet dinner at home when he got down on one knee. Serena Mitchell, he said, pulling out a small box, you are the strongest, most incredible woman I've ever met. You've shown me what real partnership looks like. What respect and equality and love look like. I don't want to complete you or fix you or change you. I just want to stand beside you and build a life together. Will you marry me? Serena looked at the ring, then at Gregory's hopeful face. 2 years ago, the idea of marriage would have terrified her. But this was different. Gregory was different. Yes, she said, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I'll marry you. They celebrated with their closest friends and family. The engagement wasn't about proving anything or achieving some societal milestone. It was about choosing to commit to someone who truly saw her and valued her. As Serena looked at her engagement ring, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. The pain of Nathan's betrayal. The courage it took to walk away. The hard work of rebuilding herself. The vulnerability of opening her heart again. She'd lost so much when her first marriage ended. But she'd gained even more. Self-respect. Independence. A career she was proud of. And now, a partnership built on equality and mutual respect. She was no longer the woman who'd tested her husband by pretending to leave. She was no longer the woman who'd watched her marriage crumble from the outside. She was Serena Mitchell, successful entrepreneur, respected professional, and woman who'd learned that the greatest love story wasn't about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming complete yourself and then choosing to share that completeness with someone worthy. And that, she thought as Gregory pulled her close, was the happiest ending of all.